This is the story of Julia Child from A Greatest Generation by Tom Brokaw. I didn't have anything but an eagerness to help. Another familiar figure on American television had the course of her life changed by World War II. More than anyone else, Julia Child brought the ideas of French cuisine into the American table through her television shows and her popular cookbook, Mastering the Art of French Cooking. Anyone who has seen her on television, all 6'2" of her, a formidable and commanding figure, may be surprised to learn during the war she was a sort of spy. She worked for the Office of Strategic Services, the OSS, the precursor to the CIA. It was an unlikely turn in the life of this product of a comfortable home in Pasadena, California. After graduating from Smith College in 1934, worked in New York as an advertising copywriter. When the war started, she went to Washington and tried to enlist in the Waves, the women's branch of the Navy. But she was rejected because of her height. How that could have affected the duties of a wave is not clear. She was so eager to serve that she signed up as a clerk typist, one of the army of women who came to the capital from across the America to help with the daily mountains of paperwork generated by the war in those pre-computer days. Child hated the job. It was drudgery. All I did was type little white cards. Finally, through some friends, I managed to get on and get into the OSS. She quickly became a senior clerk, supervising 40 people, securing office equipment, hiring other clerks, setting up office financial systems, and security. It was a big step for her. I had no training for anything whatsoever. In the mid 30s, a woman was expected to become a teacher or a housewife, take care of the children, and do the laundry. I didn't have anything but an eagerness to help. She also had ambition. She'd been a clerk about a year and a half when she heard the OSS was going to send people to the Far East. As she recalls, I knew that someday I would get to Paris and Europe, but not into the Far East. She signed up, and with a dozen other women from the Home Office, she headed for the unknown in Asia. They sailed on a troop ship for India. Child said the trip was quite jolly. There were not very many women and lots of boys. They arrived in Bombay just as another ship caught fire and drifted into a nearby ammunition ship, causing a tremendous explosion. Child was a long way from typing little white cards into a Washington office. As it did for so many women, the war liberated Child. Before going to work for the OSS and setting off for exotic locations, she had no plans for her life. I wasn't thinking in career terms, she said. There weren't many careers to have. There wasn't anything really open. If there had been no war, what would have become of Julia Child? She's in her late 80s now, but she hasn't lost her sense of plain thought. She answers, who knows? I might have ended up as an alcoholic since there wasn't anything to do.